So the conservatives are kind of busting the liberals' chops around here these days.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
I don't know, I guess all's fair in love and war. It's great to have you aboard. Thanks for tuning in to my State of Mind this Wednesday evening, middle of the week already, Holy Week. Hope you're enjoying your Passover and Seder. What do you call that, Lex? Observations. There was a word in my mind. I knew that was the word. I hope this is not the way the whole show is going to go. But obviously, Holy Thursday and Good Friday coming up. And by the way, there is no Easter without Good Friday. How's that for a quick little thingy in there? Mike Stenhouse is here. He's making fun of liberals. I didn't know that was allowed. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. Let's go to the rundown. Lexi wrote that. Spicer strikes again. What is the matter with this guy? The Barrington native, the Rhode Island pride. Headlines say it all. His words were quite profound.
Look, we didn't use chemical weapons in World War II. You know, you had someone as despicable as Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
Passover week, good timing. David Cicilline jumps on it.
The level of ignorance to not know those facts or to know those facts and to make that statement with a complete disregard for the pain that experience has caused on the second night of Passover, for goodness sakes, is disgraceful. He doesn't deserve to be a press secretary of the United States of America.
He understood. All day yesterday, I was driving home from the radio. We first kind of, I wouldn't say we broke it, we saw it yesterday on the radio, and we were like, really? And driving home, I was listening to him on CNN fall all over himself apologizing, and he did last night as well.
You're distracting from that message of accomplishment, and that's your job is to be the exact opposite. On a professional level, it's disappointing because I think I've let the president down.
You know, look, here's the thing. I mean, everyone's calling for his resignation or his termination. It's not going to happen on this one. It's going to happen next month when he screws something else up. Look, this guy is a talented guy. You know, RNC, communications director, campaign guru. But his problem is, and no one's ever told him this, I've been trying to tell him from my little perch here for a long time, too much opining. Just reflect what the president thinks, which of course is a very hard job in and of itself. Stay focused on that and stop editorializing. You get yourself in hot water that way with that job. Maybe this is the lesson learned, and he's terrific from here, but he's on the thinnest of ice. They're not going to pop him for this, and they shouldn't, because he was contrite. All right, let's move to Moscow. I just wanted to mention this. We had a whole news package that we're going to run here, but I'd rather just cover on the headlines. Tillerson, Putin, guessing, but reportedly at showtime, we tape this program every day, early afternoon, Putin and Tillerson did get together, but it was pretty tense, all of that. By the time you've seen the show, either at 7:30 or at midnight, you probably have seen coverage of a briefing from Moscow, from the two secretariat positions, the equivalent, and the president has probably had his own press conference. So I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I'm doing this at 1:42 in the afternoon. So we'll kind of park that till later. The one thing, though, the headline cracks me up that, it's the worst relationship since, I don't know, sliced bread with the Russian government, according to the Russian government. That's pretty convenient, don't you think, in the middle of all of this congressional and FBI investigation? Just saying. Governor's marks are up. Numbers on the upswing headline. Here's what Ted put together for Eyewitness News.
Executive order shall take effect immediately.
2 years into her first term, voters appear to be warming up to Democratic Governor Gina Raimondo. A newly released survey of 473 Rhode Island voters taken last winter shows 48% approve of the job Raimondo is doing as governor, while 45% disapprove. That's up 10 points from last fall when only 38% approved.
I don't really pay attention to those things.
Raimondo shrugged off the new numbers.
Where I look at is jobs created, wages, and the number of Rhode Islanders who have the education and skills that they need in order to get the jobs that we're creating.
Well, it tells me that Governor Raimondo is going in the right track for re-election.
Eyewitness News political analyst Joe Fleming says Raimondo would be even better off with an approval rating above 50% if she wants to win a second term.
They're not up where she wants to see them at this point, but at least they're trending in the right direction.
While there are no official Republican candidates for governor yet, Cranston Mayor Alan Fung tells me he's seriously considering another run. Former state rep Joe Trillo and businessman Giovanni Feroci are looking at it too. The poll also found 59% of voters approve of the job Democrat Sheldon Whitehouse is doing as U.S. Senator, while 28% disapprove. Whitehouse is up for re-election next year as well. His potential Republican opponents, State Rep Robert Nardolillo and former State Supreme Court Justice Robert Flanders.
2018 looks like it's going to be an interesting year in Rhode Island.
I said to Sheldon Whitehouse yesterday, appearing on the broadcast, that Bob Flanders, at least, pretty blue chip candidate, something he ought to be somewhat concerned about. He almost laughed it off.
See, nobody's a blue chip candidate until they've won a race.
As far as the governor saying, well, I don't really pay attention to these numbers. Woo, Pinocchio, woo. That's not true. That's not true. The entire free education, I know she's got thoughts on the cost of education, but the free education plan, meaning the 2 years of college, URI and RIC in years 3 and 4, and the first 2 years of CCRI, are doing very well. I'm looking at a just recently released poll from Bryant University, the Hasselville Leadership Institute. 60% favor Raimondo's plan. I'm looking on my phone because it just came over on the mail. 60% favor Raimondo's plan. Well, you know what? That's society today. Everybody wants something for nothing. When you examine it a little further, you might have some trepidation. But you say free, and the numbers go up. It's pretty pro forma. All right, troublemaker here. Headline. It's amazing what catches the front pages these days. Conservative ad mocks initiatives, and here it is.
Dude, I'm not feeling like working tonight at my part-time gig after smoking all that weed, now that it's legal. I'll just take one of them new paid sick days and get this. Those suckers still have to pay me that new higher minimum wage. Even my college is free, man. What a great state.
The Center for Freedom and Prosperity asks if you think this liberal fantasy world will improve the quality of your family's life. Tell your lawmaker to oppose this progressive, anti-family, anti-jobs agenda.
Did you write that?
I did. Obviously not in my voice.
You did you get high
first part.
and just decided that you were gonna, just let it go, or?
We did a report last week, and we talked around to a lot of business owners, and people just kept saying, you know what, this could lead to this kind of situation that we did in that ad.
What could lead to a
Well,
situation?
what we're dubbing the progressive left agenda. It's a vision for the state. This is all about competing visions for what is in the best interests of families. Our center, since we did this family prosperity, we're all about families. So is a family better off when it's dependent on some government-defined meager level of subsistence and nanny state and free college and mandated benefits from employers, or are they better off when there are more job opportunities, they're able to move up the income ladder on their own without those kinds of mandates? So this is really about competing visions. We named her Kat Patchouli as her name. That's one vision for Kat, who's in this liberal world where she can do whatever she wants, doesn't have to worry about going to work.
Does that name mean something?
Cat? Yeah, you're the cat, and the patchouli is the incense they used to cover up a lot of stuff. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's nice
we
to
have
have
different
some fun with the issues.
It's just political sarcasm.
It's just kind of whatever. But I wonder if you're, with the whole type of thing, whether or not you're putting this marijuana debate front and center for a reason. Are you?
Yeah, we believe it's one of the package of bills that's being considered at the General Assembly this year that you have to ask yourself, we ask ourselves, what the hell are we thinking? If we're going to, more marijuana use cannot possibly benefit society. It can't. I mean, if you think about it honestly, you can talk about revenue, you can talk about incarceration, but would more of any substance use benefit anybody or any society? No. And then you want to put more mandates on employers, You want to hand out more free education. I mean,
Well,
what the heck are we thinking?
the argument
you know?
on the substance issue is that they would suggest that it's not necessarily going to grow the activity.
But it does.
It's going to regulate it.
But it does. That was in our report last week. It's documented in Washington and Colorado that since they legalized marijuana, both illicit drug use other than marijuana and use of marijuana increased after legalization. How is that good for a family? How is that good for an employer who's trying to keep a drug-free workplace?
The trouble is, it's hard to find out who's telling the truth because they'll show
Right.
you they'll show you data that says that's absolutely not true. It's very hard.
True.
All due respect to you and your research, it's very hard for the average person to figure out who's telling the truth on these numbers.
That's why our official position is, let's have that study commission. We suggest for 2 years, let's collect the data. Let's in a systematic, organized way with experts, not in a wild form at a hearing like yesterday. Let's have a systematic approach to determine, is this a harm to society, employers, and families, or is it not? But right now, I believe our lawmakers would be making a very uninformed decision. So our center's official position is to go the study commission route and really take an honest and serious look at this.
All right. The economic argument and the race to beat Massachusetts to this business doesn't move you?
There is an argument. Listen, we understand both sides of it. You know, we understand the revenue side.
I mean, they'll be up and running by mid-18.
Yeah, we understand the individual freedom side. You know, we get all that. But if ultimately it's a negative for our society, a negative for our employers, then we shouldn't sell our soul because there's some money involved. That would be our position on that. But we don't know those answers. You're right. There is conflicting research, and we've got to take the right step. We can't get this one wrong. If we just become a place where everybody's doing whatever they want and the government is subsidizing it and then they're forcing employers to subsidize bad lifestyles, how can that be good for our state in the long term?
All right, we'll talk about some of the other things that we've learned here about your appetite, including free tuition and the like. But first, I just want to remind you that if you're looking for some sophistication when it comes to your banking needs, the Navigant Credit Union has some really cool features right now, including this card valet, which will put everything on your smartphone that you need in terms of the use of your debit/credit card and all the details. It's amazing what the app can do. It can pay your bills, deposit checks, transfer money, set limits on your spending, use Apple or Samsung Pay, send and receive cash through texts. Sorry, I had to look at my notes because it's so plentiful. Check out navigantcu.org.
You meet people in the community and you say, why'd you drop out? And they say, well, the gap was, $700. You dropped out of college for $700? Yes. Where was I going to get the money? So that student, if we had given them a hand, $1,000 scholarship, and they graduate with a degree in nursing from Rick, they're going to go work in Rhode Island and be a great nurse.
Well, it seems so practical when the governor puts it that way. I still dispute the data that they have fledglingly showed that indicates that people are dropping out of college for $700. I mean, if you're dropping out of college for $700, now I understand postponing because you got some cash flow issues and all that kind of thing, but the idea that you stop your study for $700.
We oppose the program for many reasons, but on that particular point...
I should mention that we're talking about the governor's two-year free tuition, college tuition program, which is polling well. I just read you those poll numbers, and which you oppose, correct?
Yeah, and just on that one narrow point, we already have a mechanism in place called financial aid. So we don't have to give away college to everybody. Just be a little more generous with your existing financial aid.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is that
program.
People are only going to get their credit for free tuition after they've exhausted their financial aid. What I haven't been able to determine from the Raimondo administration is whether they've thought it through as to whether the line is drawn between grants and loans. But they're going to require you, if you qualify for a grant, Pell Grant at all, to pursue every one of those options before the state kicks in the credit for your tuition, which is hilarious in one way because it's counterintuitive, seems to me. The people who are able to most access financial aid are lower income. I stopped filling out the FAFSA after year one. It's like, forget it. I mean, how many times do I have to hear the word
why
no?
should a rich guy like you get free tuition?
No, but
right?
it's the every upper middle income family has gone through this trauma. But I would get the free tuition for my kid, or she would.
Right.
And of course, timing is everything. My kid's done at school this May, at least on the undergrad thing, and there are a lot of people who are in that boat saying, wait a second.
That's right.
The 6 figures I'm into this thing for now, it all gets wiped away for the next crew? That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, but even on that's another aspect of this we don't like, is that it's regressive, is that somebody, reasonably well off like yourself, if you had younger children, could get free tuition. That could be subsidized by a low-income family who has whose children will never go to college, because somehow this free tuition is going to keep all of our taxes and fees high, right? It's one of the reasons we have high taxes in the state, because we keep spending programs like this. So in essence, you're going to get low-income people paying for people like you to send their kids. So it's unfair that way from a regressive point of view. There's many other reasons we oppose
Well,
this.
regressive and progressive. For those who are progressively categorized with their economic stance, those who like, our tax structure the way it is, and all that, this is actually counter executed.
Yes.
That the lower income folks would actually pay for the higher income folks to get a free ride.
That's right.
And people who have the ability to write a check for,
that
say
will
you
happen.
say $25,000 is, again, room and board isn't covered in this, but say junior and senior year at Rick, that would be about, $8,000 a year, $9,000 a year, so a little less than 20 grand for the 2 years. At URI, probably $25,000, $26,000. Those families that are able to pay that, go on their worldwide trip or whatever the hell else they do. They put it into an investment account. Lower income people are subsidized. I don't understand this.
Well,
but you say free and people
That's
go,
right.
they don't do any homework or any details. The politics of this are incredible.
This is Bernie Sanders, free stuff, all over again. Rhode Island, we love that free stuff here, but that good thing is, of course, most of the rest of the country, that concept was not endorsed by most people. It just shows you what a long way our politicians and our voters have to go in this state, because they love the free stuff.
I wonder how this is going to work out at the General Assembly. The Speaker has not been too high on this program. Of course, if the Speaker doesn't want to put it through, it's got a hard time making it a progress. The Governor's also retreated to a position that this is a conversation as opposed to an absolute plan. What are you hearing?
Well, what we hear are just the without any real knowledge, but we're hearing that, what usually happens, the horse trading. The Speaker is going to say, all right, I'll give you your college tuition if you give me my car tax plan, and then the taxpayers lose on both ends. That's often what happens up there. I don't have any reason to believe that's happening, other than a lot of people think that's just business as usual. So again, I can't comment on the validity of it or not, but it's something to think about.
By the way, just the governor's been racing with Governor Cuomo on this stuff. This is the New York headline here.
Yep.
By the way, what people don't know about this 4-year program at SUNY and CUNY, city and
less.
state. Well, it's got an income cap that grows to $125,000 for the family, but it mandates that a student stay in the state working for 4 years.
Right.
You skip town, you get a bill.
Right.
So none of these deals are clean.
And our question is, where are these students going to go and get jobs in this state after they graduate? I mean, it would be great if we had, if we needed more workers in the state. Employers are scrambling to find people, but that's not the case. And where are they going to go after they graduate?
New York State's vast. It's got a lot of economic opportunity.
Yes.
In Rhode Island, you could have a kid, I mean, if they throw that caveat on in the General Assembly, and watch, somebody's going to do that, right? Then you're going to have a situation where kids who can't get a gig are going to have to make a decision. Am I going to make enough when I move out of state for a job to be able to pay my college tuition, which I thought was a free ride? There'll be a lot of very creative calculations going on
and
there.
it will drive up the cost. With the article I read this morning, the Pell Grants and programs like this drive up the cost of universities, which helps the public employee unions. They get higher wages and higher dues and more employees. Don't forget that angle of it too.
You're always picking on them unions.
No, they have a lot of influence.
All right. Well, there's a whole total progressive program going on at the legislature. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.
Right now, 41% of private sector workers in Rhode Island have no access to any paid sick days.
The paid sick days is part of this program. What do they call it? The
Fair shot agenda.
Fair shot
we call
agenda.
it the no shot agenda.
And we had Representative Regenberg here to talk about that. The paid sick days thing. There you go. There's another sticky wicket. You know, between the minimum wage drive, they want $1 an hour every year through 2022, I think, to get to $15 an hour, and you know that'll just end up being in perpetuity. I like Senator Aptakis' idea, just index it and be done with it. You good with that?
I'm okay with that. You know, at the larger picture, you know, I want to give a little credit to the Speaker. He's largely been able to withstand and reject the very radical left progressive agenda over the years. So I want to give him credit for holding the line there.
Do you have to use the term radical?
Yes, it is. It is a crazy way of thinking. But that the government has to provide and manage all of our personal lives and all of our businesses. It is a radical idea. I'm sorry. It's completely radical to the founding principles of this nation.
So the sick day policy, which I have qualms with as well, you got a little of a split here. A lot of the business community, at least the chamber, have been singing the governor's praises for roadworks and all that kind of stuff, but they stopped at this sick day policy. You think businesses would have a difficult time with this mandated sick day policy?
I know they would. And that was one of the items that spurred that ad we played earlier. Is that you know what are we doing? What are we thinking about? You know, Mike Collins said on the radio, you know, from the Gatsby Business Network, that a friend he knows said if they pass that law, I'm packing up my 55 manufacturing job and I'm leaving the state. It's that kind of intrusion that just causes such resentment.
I always
and
wonder if that's more
burdens on
emotion
employers.
than anything
Who knows?
else. You know, but I get it.
But we are near the bottom in all these employer. Remember, the problem with the progressives is they focus on government benefits to individuals. We need to focus on attracting employers. This is an anti-employer agenda. That's an anti-employer bill. We've got to focus on more good companies to produce more good jobs, not driving out and putting more pressure on those that are here. It's the complete opposite and backward way to approach our problems in this state.
Well, we're a workers' rights state, and we always have been. And it'll be very interesting to see how this agenda moves through. There is a lot of pressure from the progressive left on the Speaker. Republicans may end up being the ally in this particular case. Who knows? We'll see.
I hope so.
All right. Let us know when your next ad is up. Okay. Final word when we get back. Stay with us. Programming notes. There's a really cool display at the Dryden Galleries at Providence Picture Frame. And it's not an advertisement. It's a really cool display of some great 50s, 60s photography artwork, and you're going to learn about that tomorrow. And Andy Gresh is returning to Sports Talk here at WPRO here in Providence, and he'll be our guest on Friday, so make a note of that. We'll see you back on the radio at 3 o'clock tomorrow on WPRO. Thanks for watching. Good night.